Welcome back to Survival in Wild. From brutal survival competitions with prize pools up to $500,000 to daring expeditions deep into the heart of untamed jungles, where every second is a fight against nature just to survive another night. From the freezing wilderness of the Arctic to the snake-infested, mosquito-swarmed swamps of the Amazon, each journey is a test of endurance, willpower, and raw survival instinct. At Survival in Wild, you'll follow fearless adventurers who push their limits, battling hunger, cold, and danger lurking in every shadow of the wild. These aren't just trips, they're life-or-death battles, where even the smallest mistake can cost everything. Are you ready to step into the world of real survival? Hit that subscribe button and join us in the wildest survival journeys on the planet. Let's kick off this episode with Igor. While the other contestants have been feasting on fish and meat, Igor has been surviving solely on seaweed for 10 straight days. No real food, no finished shelter. So after this meal, it's time to finally build a proper place to live. In a region where it rains constantly and everything is damp, a shelter with a raised wooden floor is the smartest choice. It keeps things dry and helps keep bugs away. From dawn till dusk, Igor works nonstop, and soon the floor and walls start to take shape. Just as he's about to take a break, he spots a lone grouse wandering nearby. No way he's letting that go. He grabs his saw and charges in like a tiger. One loud shout, and the prey is down. Even Igor's surprised that a saw did the job. At last, after 10 long days of nothing but seaweed, Igor finally has a real meal worth celebrating. Another cheerful day greets Adam, and with some free time on his hands, he decides to upgrade his shelter. The place is so tightly sealed that during one cooking session, he almost turned himself into a piece of smoked meat. Time for a real fireplace, one with proper ventilation inside his shelter. He picks a good spot and starts digging a pit. Then, using branches and vines, he builds a sturdy frame and carefully covers it with a mix of clay and grass. This not only reinforces the fireplace, but also makes it more durable. With the new chimney in place, he hopes the smoke will finally escape instead of choking him out. Just as he's fully focused on the fireplace, a sudden flap of wings catches his attention. He dashes toward the sound. It's a grouse. But in his haste, he didn't bring his bow. All he has is a stick. He throws at the bird perched nearby, but the grouse flies off, leaving Adam and his empty belly behind. Disappointed, he heads back to camp. But no time to sulk. There's still work to finish. He gets back to the fireplace, lights a small fire to harden the clay walls. And to his relief, the smoke flows cleanly out through the chimney. Looks like Adam's hard work is finally paying off. Jacques truly seems like nature's favorite child. Early in the morning, he already reels in a fresh catch, a good-sized fish. But he knows all too well, the smell of blood can attract unwanted visitors, especially black bears who can sniff it out from kilometers away. So without wasting a second, he cleans the fish on the spot, careful to leave no trace behind. Back at his shelter, he grills it up and takes a well-earned bite. The shelter? Solid. The food? Plentiful. Everything seems to be going his way. But even in this paradise of solitude, something's missing. The silence is loud. He finds himself constantly thinking about his girlfriend and his loyal dog waiting at home. Survival may be going smoothly, but loneliness? That's a whole different challenge. Something's not quite right with Jacques. He's been eating well, fish and meat nearly every day. He sleeps nearly 12 hours a night. And yet, it looks like he's lost at least 10 pounds. What's going on? Maybe it's not a physical illness. Maybe it's just a severe case of missing his wife. As if matching his mood, dark clouds roll across the sky. He hurries to chop some dry wood to keep warm. But just then, a sudden noise in the trees. This time, he's prepared. He grabs his bow before investigating. Up in the branches, a squirrel bounces playfully from limb to limb. One arrow, one shot, one clean takedown. Back at camp, he cooks it carefully. And despite feeling a little guilty, he knows he needs the protein. The $500,000 prize is calling. But each night, he's wrestling with himself. Is it worth it? All this isolation, just for the money? That night, Jacques lies awake, his mind spinning with thoughts of home, and the woman he misses more than any meal. After a long night of soul-searching, Jacques finally makes a decision. He walks over to the satellite phone, his hand trembling slightly. His heart pounds as he lifts it to his ear, unsure if he's making the right choice. But then, he remembers something powerful. No amount of money can replace true happiness. Not even $500,000. So why stay another day in the wilderness, when what he truly wants is already waiting for him back home? With that, Jacques whispers a quiet goodbye to the forest, packs his things, and prepares to leave. Farewell, Jacques. You may not be the last one standing, but you've already won in the most important way. Take care out there. If this wilderness mansion is completed, it could become the most epic shelter in the history of the competition. Just the thought of it makes Jessie's eyes light up with excitement. From the moment she first set foot here, she had one goal in mind: win the $500,000. And to make that happen, she knew she had to build a shelter that was not only strong, but also warm and safe. Luckily, nature seems to be on her side. Her chosen spot lies beneath a gentle hillside, small enough to block the wind, and surrounded by just the right size trees. Sturdy, yet easy to carry. It's exhausting work. But Jessie isn't slowing down. She's driven by one dream: to become champion. Once the house frame is finished, she covers it with a layer of thin wooden planks, completing the basic skeleton of her dream home. Worried about the weight of winter snow, she carefully reinforces the support beams, determined not to let her hard work collapse under pressure. And now, the foundation is set. Jessie's wild fortress is coming to life. Most of the female contestants had already left early. Will Jessie be the one to finally break that curse? Every day, she survives on nothing but warm water and wild berries. She's eaten so many, they barely have any taste left. But with no animals in sight, no grouse, no rabbits, it's like she's the only living soul in this forest. Still, Jessie doesn't give up. Instead of chasing after animals, she chooses a more patient strategy: trapping. And honestly, she prefers it that way. With her military survival training, Jessie quickly identifies the squirrel trails and begins setting traps along their path. Simple snares made from wire and tension. Once they step through, the noose tightens and dinner is served. In just a short time, she sets 15 traps, just as she's sitting down to rest. A sudden rustle in the brush grabs her attention. She holds her breath. Could it be already? And yes, within less than 30 minutes, a squirrel has been caught. An early reward for her smart strategy. After a moment of hesitation, she decides to process the animal by the riverside. Tonight, there will be soup. There may not be much meat, but at least it's something warm, savory, and earned. Under the flickering light of the fire, Jessie sips her squirrel soup, and in that quiet, peaceful moment, she feels something she hasn't in a while: true satisfaction. It's finally time for Benji to build a proper shelter. Since day one, he's been constantly foraging for food, which means up until now, he's only been surviving in a temporary tarp tent. He chooses a quiet patch of forest near both fresh water and the beach, a strategic location that's rich in resources. It's going to take a lot of energy and time, but a sturdy shelter could protect him from the relentless rain and wind. Benji opts for a simple A-frame structure. He uses nearby tree trunks as supports, then drapes a waterproof tarp over the top. After securing the edges and reinforcing the frame, his basic shelter is complete. After lying down for a short break, a sharp chirp catches his attention. A squirrel nearby, careless and unaware. Without a second of hesitation, Benji grabs his bow, crouches low, and silently stalks his target. Then thwack, a single arrow. Clean, precise, bullseye. He's not just a survivor, he's a hunter. And dinner? It's ready to be cooked. Benji chooses to roast the squirrel, adding just a touch of salt to bring out the flavor. As the aroma rises through the forest, He leans back, content. Right now, life's not so bad. Food is regular. Shelter is secure. And Benji? He's thriving out here. Adam, who always dreamed of hunting a large black bear, had been waiting for 15 days, but still hadn't encountered a single one. So, he had no choice but to head to the river to fish. Ever since he caught a few small fish there, Adam believed that this river could be the lifesaver of his journey. According to theory, today's calm weather should have made it a perfect day for fishing. But from noon till evening, not a single fish took the bait. Even though he changed fishing spots many times, the result remained the same. Nothing. In the end, he could only think of another way to find food. After his failed attempt at fishing, Adam decided to focus on practicing his archery skills. Whether this last-minute training would pay off or not, well, we'll find out when he actually goes out to hunt a female black bear. On the way, he even stumbled upon a large golden cow mushroom, perfect for stewing with bear meat if he gets lucky. As he walked, Adam kept a close eye on his surroundings, making sure not to miss a single movement in the forest. Suddenly, he stopped in his tracks. It looked like he had spotted something. Without hesitation, he drew his bow and fired an arrow. The arrow shot through the air and struck its target in the heart. And the target was a chicken. Yes, not a bear, just a chicken. Still, that means dinner is secure tonight. But first, he plucked the feathers and cleaned out the insides. Then he returned to camp, stuffed a few blueberries into the chicken, added a bit of water, and simmered it for 30 minutes. When it was finally time to eat, it was a little burnt, just a little, but the flavor wasn't bad at all. Actually, it was pretty tasty. While the other contestants were still struggling to find food, Benji had already filled his camp with fish. To deal with the surplus, he dug a small hole to store the extra catch. But little did he know, his furry neighbors were already eyeing it. It wouldn't be long before they helped themselves. Despite being good at fishing, Benji still preferred hunting. As he wandered through a swampy area, he noticed signs of a large animal. Big tracks, bent grass, fresh droppings. This could be something huge. Excited by the thought, he grabbed his bow and followed the trail. From a distance, he spotted something swimming in the water. Without wasting a second, he drew his bow and fired an arrow. The first shot missed, but he wasn't giving up. He took another arrow, aimed carefully, and this time it looked like a hit. Unfortunately, whatever it was escaped into the brush before he could reach it. Convinced it hadn't gone far, he circled around, checking every corner, from the small creeks to the wide riverbanks, but nothing. Not a sound, not a movement. By then, the sky had turned dark. Benji had no choice but to head back to camp, hoping tomorrow he'd get another chance to find it. Even in the middle of the wild, Kelly still tried to maintain her elegance. Today was the first time she washed her hair in over 2 weeks. And after that long overdue rinse, she felt completely refreshed, like a brand new woman. The weather was perfect, clear skies, and a gentle breeze. A great day to build a proper shelter. Her plan? A semi-underground shelter, with half of its volume buried beneath the earth. The biggest advantage of this design? Excellent heat retention. Even if heavy snow covered the ground, inside would stay as warm as springtime. After piling up dirt on both sides to form walls, Kelly laid a heat-insulated, waterproof tarp over the top. And just like that, her new shelter was complete. To celebrate the move into her cozy new home, Kelly lit a campfire and basked in the warm glow. She looked around, satisfied and proud of what she had built with her own hands. Things weren't looking good for Terry. With no food for days, his body had stopped functioning properly. He hadn't gone to the bathroom in over 10 days. Recently, his only hope had been to hunt a beaver. Just one beaver could be worth several big fish in terms of nourishment. Hungry and desperate, Terry woke up at 4 a.m. He made his way to the riverbank, nestling into the tall grass, waiting for manatees, or anything, really, to appear. At the same time, he quietly shared the peaceful sunrise on the Labrador Peninsula. A while later, a reckless little beaver showed up, swimming leisurely in the water. Worried it might drown, Terry pulled out an arrow, not out of malice, but to end things quickly and make it easier to retrieve. His arrow hit the mark. The beaver thrashed and tried to escape. But with that kind of wound, it couldn't have gone far. As predicted, a few minutes later, its body floated to the surface. Without hesitation, Terry stripped down and stepped into the river to rescue the drowned animal. At last, he succeeded in retrieving the beaver, but unfortunately, it didn't survive. On the other side, Tom was hard at work building his shelter. He chose to set up camp alongside a mountain slope, a clever move to help retain warmth during the freezing winter months. After a while, hunger started to kick in, so he grabbed his fishing rod and headed to the river. He had caught 3 fish from this very spot before, and today was no different. Within minutes, the surface of the water began to ripple wildly. Tom pulled his first catch of the day. This one, absolutely perfect for grilling, crispy skin, juicy meat. A total treat in the wild. He returned to camp and savored the reward of his effort. But hey, don't forget to finish building that shelter after you're full, buddy. Igor was doing his morning workout before starting to build his shelter. After a good round of exercise, he headed into the forest to chop some firewood for his tent. But he had only been working for a short while before hunger kicked in. He had just taken his fishing rod out to try his luck, but when he returned to camp, all he had were a single clam and a bit of seaweed. Well, better than nothing, right? The next morning, he woke up early to begin building his forest villa. Using charcoal as toothpaste, he reminded himself that keeping his teeth clean was crucial. Once they start to rot, the pain is unbearable and eating becomes a nightmare. Before continuing construction, he sat down to carefully think through the design of his shelter. After calculating all the materials needed, he finally began the labor-intensive process of building. It quickly became clear how physically demanding the task was. Fatigue started to set in, and his strength began to fade. He no longer worried about survival. What he truly longed for now was an escape from this island. This place was far too lonely and harsh. The mental and emotional toll had pushed him beyond his limits. After a long moment of inner struggle, he accepted defeat. Honestly, I wasn't surprised Igor decided to give up. Whether it was building a shelter or finding food, his survival skills were still lacking in many areas. But to be fair, even if all he could eat was seaweed, he managed to survive for 20 days. Farewell, and take care, Igor. The competition is entering its elimination phase. Contestants who can't keep up will have no choice but to surrender to the brutal forces of nature. No one can afford to be careless, because for that $500,000 prize, they must give it everything they've got. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of the intense moments ahead. Goodbye for now, and see you in the next episode.